सर आप एक awesome content creator हो. You must have had so many crazy stories. So what is your favorite thing about being a content creator?
I long ago, when I first started making content, when I come to Bombay, I shot something which was inside, a cattle, like a cow shed. So there were like about 100 cows there, and it was smelly. It was stinky. But we had to take cameras and go inside and shoot. So in the middle of all of that, in the middle of all the smell, in the middle of all the stink, all the cows looking at us saying, why these people come here to shoot? We shot something really fun, and we had shot something where something was hidden in there. How do we find it in the middle of a cow shed? So that is my weirdest story. It was also a lot of fun. I speak to the people I shot it with, and we have many fond memories of that. But none of us can forget the smell. It was really bad.
Good morning, everyone. Today we have the incredible Varun Duggirala, an entrepreneur, author, podcaster, and content creator. I'm Anya Joshi from Noida, currently studying in grade 5. I am a part of the 𝗓𝗏, a wonderful kids community that helps us learn good habits and make positive changes in our lives. हम खूब सारी मस्ती भरे एक्टिविटीज और सेशंस में पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं और नई चीजें सीखते हैं and learn from inspiring leaders. और मैं तो बहुत ही एक्साइटेड हूँ आपसे बात करने के लिए. So let's begin without any further ado. First of all, मैं आपसे एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहती हूँ. Had you been a superhero, what would have been your superpower and why?
I would have been a superhero. I would have been one of those superheroes who can imagine things and those things happen. Like think Doctor Strange, think all that is like, I think my imagination has always been my superpower. So it'd be amazing to see what I imagine if it can actually become reality. That would be my superpower.
Is that any reason?
So since I was a kid, one of the things I loved to do was to really sit down and imagine things, come up with stories, come up with things that I would play with my toys and come up with stories there. I would imagine that if I'm climbing on the rooftop of my house, as a kid, I used to imagine that was like a mountain and I was going to go on top and I was a wizard. So I've always been that person. Even though I've grown up, I still do think like that. If I'm going on a bridge, I imagine that there are huge, gigantic robots going on top of it, like the Transformers and stuff. So that's always been my dream. And if I had a superpower, I would make those dreams come true and actually see those things happen.
Oh, that's great.
What is your superpower? I want to ask you this. What would your superpower be?
I always wanted that whatever I draw that becomes real, kind of, because there are so many things I expect that I want this and that, and I will just feel like I'll draw it and I'll get it.
It's actually, just think about it, you can sketch something out and that can come into life. That would be amazing.
Sir, आप एक awesome content creator हो. You must have had so many crazy stories. So what is your favorite thing about being a content creator?
तो मैं जब पहले content creator तो मतलब बाद में बना, I only became a content creator at the age of 36. अभी तो I'm almost 41. But मेरा बचपन से रहा कि I would I remember when I was in college also take a small camera, जाके कुछ shoot करके आओ, उसके बाद में editing सीखा था तो edit कर लो. जब पहले content creation चालू किया था, actually in the middle of the pandemic, मेरा point था कि I'm in my house, यहाँ पर what can I come up with their stories? So I would always think of what to do. How can I take the most boring things and make them into fun content? So if, let's say I'm washing dishes, can that become content? If I am making a smoothie, can that become content? So my weirdest stories are actually the most boring ones, but I always found them to be interesting. Like last night would be a weird story where I have this frog which makes music if you go on its back. And so I was sitting down and saying, okay, this is a fun thing to have. What can I make some content out of this? And I remembered that doing this is like what I do to my hair after I comb it. I always end up doing this and this, and messed up my hair, and I was like, okay, I'm equating a frog's back to my hair. So my weirdest story is always that. But if you think of a larger weird story, I long ago, when I first started making content, when I come to Bombay, I shot something which was inside a cattle, like a cow shed. So there were like about 100 cows there, and it was smelly. It was stinky. But we had to take cameras and go inside and shoot. So in the middle of all of that, in the middle of all the smell, in the middle of all the stink, all the cows looking at us saying, why these people come here to shoot? We shot something really fun, and we had shot something where something was hidden in there, and how do we find it in the middle of a cow shed? So that is my weirdest story. It was also a lot of fun. I speak to the people I shot it with, and we have many fond memories of that. But none of us can forget the smell. It was really bad.
That sounds so fun, sir. A few of my friends are here, and वो सब भी आपसे कुछ questions पूछना चाहते हैं. Can I invite them?
Of course.
Okay.
Hello sir, I am Himadri Shah, a grade 5th student from 𝗂𝗶𝘀𝗀.
Hello.
सर, मेरे स्कूल में बहुत सारी मजेदार चीजें होती हैं. आपको अपने स्कूल के बारे में कुछ याद है? स्कूल या वर्क के दौरान आपके साथ सबसे मजेदार चीज कौन सी हुई है?
मैंने बचपन में बहुत स्कूल चेंज किए थे. मैं ऑलमोस्ट 3-4 स्कूल शिफ्ट किया था जब तक मैं 10th स्टैंडर्ड खत्म किया था मैंने. पर सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ क्या था, मेरा जो स्कूल था वो मेरा नेटिव टाउन जहाँ पर मैं स्कूल किया था उसका नाम है काकीनाडा, कोस्टल आंध्र प्रदेश. तो वहाँ पर बीच है आसपास. तो हम लोगों ने क्या किया था, हम लोगों ने बोला था कि वहाँ पर जाके हम लोग एक प्रोजेक्ट करेंगे. तो हम लोग बीच पे गए थे पूरा सैंड वगैरह सब लेने के लिए. पर ये रियलाइज़ किया था हमारे पास तो कुछ था नहीं लेने के लिए. तो हम सब ने अपने अपने यूनिफॉर्म्स के ऊपर पूरा सैंड डाल दिया था, और ऐसे कपड़ों से पकड़ के और दो लोग साइकिल पे थे, एक के पास एक 2 व्हीलर था. हम सब ऐसे से पकड़ के आए थे. तो फिर हमारे जो टीचर वेट कर रहे थे कि ये लोग सैंड लेने गए, उन्होंने देखा कि कुछ 4 लोग आ रहे इतने सारा सैंड लेके अपने शर्ट्स के अंदर और पॉकेट्स के अंदर लगा के. तो मतलब मेरे को लगता है टीचर थोड़ा शॉक में चले गए थे. बट वो अभी भी वो जो मेरे दोस्त थे स्कूल के अभी भी बोलते हैं कि जब प्रॉब्लम हो नहीं था, जब हम घर गए थे और मम्मी पापा को बताना था कि कपड़ों में इतना सारा सैंड कहाँ से आ गया, तो हमने सब बोला था कि टीचर ने बोला था करने के लिए. तो वो एक इंस्टेंट रिमेम्बरेंस है जब ये क्वेश्चन पूछा था. सोच रहा हूँ और कौन सा है. मैं स्कूल में ना मैं बहुत शरारती था. तो मैं प्रैंक बहुत खेलता था. तो मैंने एक बार 3-4 कॉकरोच पकड़े थे मेरे दोस्तों ने. तो हम लोग कॉकरोच लेकर आए थे स्कूल में, और हमने सोचा कि हम लोग बायोलॉजी क्लास में जाएंगे, कॉकरोच दिखाएंगे टीचर को. पर वो कॉकरोच सडनली जिसने एक पेंसिल बॉक्स में रखा था वो पेंसिल बॉक्स से निकल गया था. सडनली बीच क्लास हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि 4 कॉकरोच हमारे क्लासरूम में भाग रहे. और फिर टीचर ने फाइनली नोटिस किया था और सारे बच्चे भागने लगे, 2-3 चिल्लाने लग गए. तो पनिशमेंट थोड़ी मिली उसके बाद, बट मज़ा भी बहुत आया था. सब भी बहुत हंसे थे, टीचर भी बहुत हंस रहे थे उससे.
Wow, what a story, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I am Rishit Sahani, a grade 9 student from Dehradun, Uttarakhand. And as kids, हम कभी-कभी समझ नहीं पाते हैं what exactly is time management. But sir, आप बहुत efficiently सब कुछ manage कर पाते हो. So what's your secret ingredient for that? And a tip you will like to share with us.
टाइम मैनेजमेंट मैंने लाइफ में बहुत बाद में सीखा है. पहले तो मैनेज नहीं करता था, अभी भी थोड़ा कम ही मैनेज करता हूँ. बट एक सिंपल फिलॉसफी सीखा था मैंने. एक सिंपल सिस्टम है. सब बोलते हैं ना कि बहुत सारे कॉम्प्लेक्स सिस्टम्स मिलेंगे ऑनलाइन, बट सिंपल सिस्टम ये है कि कुछ चीज़ें हैं लाइफ में जो हम कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, और कुछ चीज़ें लाइफ में जो कंट्रोल में नहीं रहती. जैसे कि अगर स्कूल का टाइमिंग है, स्कूल का टाइमिंग तो मैनेज नहीं कर पाओगे, तो वो स्कूल के ऊपर है ना कि कौन से टाइम पे क्या क्लास होने वाला है, कौन से टाइम पे क्या होगा. तो जो कंट्रोल में नहीं उसको साइड में रखो, जो बचा हुआ है जो एक्चुअली तुम्हारे कंट्रोल में है, अब तुम सोचो वो पूरा टाइम लेके जो भी तुम प्लान करोगे उसके हाफ टाइम में प्लान करो। बिकॉज क्या होता है ना, हम लोग सब सोचते हैं कि अच्छा मैं ये बुक पढ़ लूंगा 4 आवर्स में, पर वो एक्चुअली 8 आवर्स लगता है। सोचो कि नहीं मैं ये असाइनमेंट खत्म करूंगा कि 2 आवर्स में, पर वो एक्चुअली 3 आवर्स 4 आवर्स लगेगा। तो ये बेटर है कि तुम आधा टाइम लेके प्लान करो, ना कि फुल टाइम में बैक टू बैक करके करोगे तो पूरा प्रेशर भी आएगा ना सर पे कि ओह माय गॉड आई हैव सो मच लेफ्ट टू डू, आई हैवंट फिनिश्ड इट। So the best way to manage it, and also it helps your mind because you're not feeling the pressure, is to say okay, this is the time that's under my control, और वो टाइम का हाफ में ले रहा हूँ और वो हाफ टाइम मैं मैनेज करने के लिए ट्राई करूँगा। और अगर कुछ एक्स्ट्रा टाइम बच भी गया तो अच्छी बात है ना, तो you'll have some time free for yourself, you'll have some time to do something which maybe you haven't had time to do. So that's what I always do. I always keep like half the time which is under my control as free as possible. एंड उससे काफ़ी कुछ हो जाता है। जैसे कि उस दिन मेरे पास एक 1 आवर फ्री हो गया था, तो मैं और मेरी डॉटर बैठ के हम लोग बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक्स से खेल रहे थे 1 घंटे के लिए, लेगो का ब्लॉक्स के साथ। तो टाइम मिल जाता है तो यू फाइंड मोर फन थिंग्स टू डू। इफ यू प्लान ऑल योर टाइम देन यू हैव नो फ्री टाइम, देन इट्स नॉट फन, नो?
Yeah. Sir, I will remember that and share it with my friends too. So now I have a fun question with you. What is one fun fact about you that people might not know? And please don't hide it from us.
What is a fun fact about me that people might not know? Have I not spoken about it? I was actually, I used to actually be a coder for fun. I used to code for fun when I was in school. And I never ended up doing anything with it, but when I had free time, and this is like very early, this is like before when code was a little bit more ancient, this is a long time ago, but I used to code for fun, and I would code stuff where if somebody asked me to make like a program to do a specific thing, I would add more things into it. You would have certain animations happen, you would have something else pop up and happen there. And the other thing which I don't think I've told anybody about is that I actually used to talk very quickly. Now I talk a lot slower, right? I used to talk like that. My natural way of talking. So I spent a lot of time practicing slowly to talk slower, because the way I used to talk is that people had to keep pausing, almost like hitting a pause button to ask me what I spoke about. So 1 second, can we pause? Can we rewind a little bit? Can you tell me again what you said? So I slowly practiced and started talking slower, like I talk now. But if you actually ask people who know me when I was a kid or when I was younger, they'll tell you that they couldn't understand half the things I said because I spoke so quickly.
That's cool.
Sir, I am Ryan, a grade 5th student from Dehradun, Uttarakhand. At the first tree, we learned so many things about entrepreneurship, and आप भी एक awesome entrepreneur हो. तो according to you, वो एक skill क्या है which kids should develop to become a successful entrepreneur?
So, to become an entrepreneur, this is a skill set people don't talk about. Everyone thinks that to be an entrepreneur, you have to create idea, you have to be able to manage a business, do all that. There are 2 things that every entrepreneur needs. One is that you should be building something focused on a problem that you are very passionate about. So my first company which I built, and grew over 14 years, I used to work in television. And me and my co-founder, we were very passionate about saying, okay, what can we create as content online? That time nobody made content online. Instagram did not exist. There was only Facebook, and Instagram was, I think, was just starting out, right? And so nobody was saying, why would someone make content online? But we said, no, maybe we can do that, and we can do that with brands. We were passionate about it because that's what we were doing. We saw that what we were doing in television was not enough, that we could do so much more online. So you're very passionate about it, and that makes you really focus on it. But the second one, the most important one to be a successful entrepreneur and actually be a successful leader, is to have emotional intelligence. Everyone talks about IQ, right? You need to have a lot of IQ. what's important is that because to be an entrepreneur, you're working with other people, you're also building things for people out there. So if you don't understand how people will react emotionally when you're working with them, you've got to make sure that everyone's happy, satisfied with what they're doing. You also have to make sure that if everything you're building for someone else, they should be happy and satisfied with what it is. And you should really have, you should want to do something to make other people's life better, make other people's life simpler. And for that, you need a lot more EQ. So, developing empathy, developing general understanding of what people's feelings are and how they work with each other. Because if you're building a team, when we started our company, we were 2 people who lived in the same house. And in 14 years, we went from that to about 700-800 people in 2 cities. Right? But throughout that point, it's always like, is everyone doing fine? Is everyone happy with the work they're doing? Someone's unhappy, why are you unhappy with it? You're working with someone who's on the other side, who's a customer. Are you happy as a customer? If you're not happy, your problems are my problems. How can I help you solve that? So that's how we always function, and that way you will feel more satisfied because you're not just doing something for just doing it, right? You're doing it when you're feeling satisfied. Okay, I'm helping someone out there. I'm also solving a problem in their life. So I'd say being passionate about the problem you're trying to solve, and secondly to really have EQ and emotional intelligence towards everybody around you.
Wow, sir, the story is full of learnings and teachings that will help the young budding minds to tackle challenges. Thank you.
Thanks for the lovely question.
Sir, may I ask you a question?
Of course.
At what age did you start writing stories?
I started right. So my mother used to be an English teacher. And so I started writing and telling stories from the time I was maybe 7-8 years old. I would come up with tinier stories. I never wrote them, but I would have them somewhere. I would scribble something and have them in my head. I would play with my toys and come up with those stories. So I've been doing it since I was like 7-8 years old. We didn't have cameras then, so digital cameras and stuff like that as much. So didn't record it. Otherwise, maybe I would have been a YouTuber much earlier. But that's how long back that I started writing stories. Then but I eventually only wrote my first book only last year. So it took a long time to put something out there as a book, but the book only something I wrote last year.
Yeah. Can you tell us what's the name of the book?
The book I wrote is called Everything is Out of Syllabus.
That's a cool name.
And I wrote that book for the 18-year-old me, because when I was 18 years old, I didn't know too much about the world. I grew up in a small town, and when I was 17, 18, I had moved to a big city. I moved to Bangalore from the coastal town I grew up in Kakinada. And I was, I had a lot of confusion. I didn't understand. Suddenly felt like it was a big bad city. And then from there I went to Pune. I eventually came to Bombay to work in the industry here. So I wrote that book for the 20-year-old me. But all the things I learned between the ages of 18 and 40. So for anybody who's at that age or even younger or slightly around that period, they'd learn some of those things, right? So for me, it was 5 things which I learned. I learned how to make choices. I learned how to start things. I learned how to learn. I learned how to have conversations. And I learned how to connect with others through conversations. And I learned how to reflect within myself, understand myself also, and spend some time doing that. So that's what the book is about.
That's a really nice journey, sir. Sir, is there anyone who inspired you to be an entrepreneur?
For me, there was only one Indian entrepreneur I really aspired to, and I looked at that when we started, because I built something in the media business. So 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, who is one of the co-founders at Upgrad, he also started UTV, which later became a part of Disney. So he was someone I looked at as someone who went from like a very small thing to grew it that large in the media world. So he's someone I really aspire to look at. and I have many others across the world, but he would be the first name from an Indian context that I really aspired to when I looked at him in that sense.
That's great, sir.
But how did you face the challenges? Were they tough or were they like, I can do it?
So I am someone who I'm not a brave person. So whenever there are challenges, I first get scared. But I've actually learned that if you don't take instant decisions, you don't react to it. You take time and you think about, okay, what is the worst that will happen? I always think of the worst case scenario. What is the worst thing? And if you actually visualize what the worst that can happen, it doesn't feel that bad. No, that's not that bad. It's like sometimes if you don't imagine it, you'll say, oh my god, it's going to go like, it's going to be bad. But if you actually sit down and say, this is the worst thing that can happen, it takes off the pressure, and then I decide. So that's how I've always decided. I think of the worst scenario, and then after that, as the pressure goes off, I actually think I make a better decision.
Sir, I'm the opposite of you. I love taking risks. I'm very brave. So like in school, whenever I have sports time, so I keep jumping from places and taking a lot of risks.
So it also helps to have people like that around you. So Rohit, who was my co-founder, is also my best friend, and we started our company together. He's like that. He's like what you just said. He'll jump into it. No, let's do it right now. Let's decide right now. And I'm like, no, hold on. Let's slowly think about it. It's me. So we balanced each other out.
Thank you, sir. That was a very nice story and it was fun also.
That was indeed a mind refresher and seemed like a roller coaster ride. Thank you so much for your time. It was just an amazing experience for all of us. We loved this opportunity to chit-chat and learn more about you and your exciting work. Thank you for the engaging interview and patiently responding to all the questions.
No, thank you for having me, and thank you for the amazing questions, and it's so nice to see all of your bright, happy faces asking this question. I hope my answers were helpful, is all I can say.
Okay, thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you.